Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview in our Top 10 Most Inspiring Women series. Especially excited for today because we have not one, but two of our inspiring ladies joining us today. So welcome LaVante Dorsey and Vernita Dorsey.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Good, very good. Just a little background for everyone watching. Vernita Dorsey is the Director of Community Strategy at WSFS, and she has a pretty amazing career story going through all kinds of different industries, which we'll get into. And then LaVante Dorsey has her own mental health practice, LaVante N, Dorsey Associates, which we will talk about. And I think there's some history of community engagement and volunteering and giving back, which is one of the reasons we chose these amazing ladies to interview today. So to get started, I'm going to ask both of you the same question. What change do you want to see in the world, and how are you working towards that cause?
Go ahead.
So apparently it's me first. So I think like many people would say today, it would be nice if we could see the world change in terms of the racial perspective, and if everyone could really be treated equally. And to that end, I am serving on the United Way of Delaware's Racial Justice Collaborative, to work on a number of ways that the world needs to change, be it on wealth for everyone, the same, treat everyone the same in terms of the criminal justice system. There's just so many ways that people of color, I guess, have not been given the same opportunities in some cases that others have. And so it would be really good if that could change. And my overall perspective is, I think if everybody could just love everybody, then that would probably solve most of this versus, not. And you?
Yeah, that is awesome and important work. And I'm so glad. I don't know, every time I talk to someone who's working on it, I think I get new insights. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And for myself, as we all know, this last year and a half, 2 years have been very hectic for our mental health, for our minds. We don't know whether we are coming or going. So of course, just working to reduce the stigma associated with receiving mental health assistance, and really letting people know if you're not feeling okay, it's okay, but there are people out there, therapists who are trained to assist you to just feel better overall. So definitely my work is towards reducing the mental health stigma and assisting others in getting the mental health help that they need.
Let's go ahead and dig further into that. And LaVante, tell us a little bit more about your business and the work that you do.
Yeah, so we are a mental health private practice located in Newark, Delaware. But once the pandemic hit, we switched to telehealth. We have a team of 8 therapists, all African-American women, and we serve women, men, youth, and children here in Delaware, whether it be they're stressed about their schoolwork, they're having trouble on the job, or just managing life in a pandemic where you have so many hats and roles you're trying to manage. And we have seen the need for mental health assistance increase, and that people are having higher levels of stress, depression with the job losses. So our practice, we're just one call away. We accept local insurance, and we just get calls each day for those saying, I'm not okay and I need help. And we have one-on-one therapy sessions and groups to serve the community.
Question for you. Do you think that mental health affects different communities differently? And obviously, like to some extent with economic wealth, right? Like the more money you have, the easier it is to get therapy. But then also, like, I think different communities have different levels of stigma around it.
Absolutely. Typically, you'll see African-American communities say, what happens in my house stays in my house. And I'm not telling anyone my business, or I can just either suck it up or talk to my friends about the problem. And we, especially in the marketing that we do, we work to kind of poke fun at those, but get you to see your friend isn't your therapist, and that therapists have the clinical skills and expertise to help you through situations, and where your friend's going to get tired of hearing your story, but your therapist will keep processing it through with you. So definitely in the African American community, we see that stigma stronger because we're used to handling it on our own and keeping it inside, but we're seeing an increase in those, especially that's the goal of my brand, to get them to see, one, you can see a therapist that is the same color as you, as well as it is okay to go to someone for assistance.
Yeah. So if you had to tell someone who maybe their family was making fun of them or they were feeling stigmatized, what would you tell them to encourage them to go?
Well, we've had this happen actually, and we've actually heard it from people where they say, well, my cousin said, I don't need to go to no therapist. And we're like,
Wow.
oh, okay. You're struggling with a lot. And we just say, you've tried all these years to do it your way and to just rely on family supports, and it hasn't yielded the results that you wanted. So at least just give us 3 or 4 sessions, just give it a try. And some of the amazing part is some of my people in my community and network are able to utilize our services, and they give us reviews and say, you know what, LaVante, I was kicking and fighting coming in, but boy, has it really made a difference. So that excites me every chance I get to hear that.
Tell us about a project or accomplishment that you consider to be one of the most significant in your career.
The most recent thing would be all the work in 2020 that we were able to do for our nonprofit partners who were struggling. I mean, really struggling financially, struggling in terms of not having the normal volunteers that they have. Part of the role, in addition to corporate giving and our foundation, my other part of the other hat I wear, I guess, there is I manage our volunteerism program called Team WSFS. And so, our associates, as you mentioned before, they are everywhere, and they enjoy serving and doing. And through both our philanthropic efforts, the dollars that we were able to put out into the community to help, we helped purchase Chromebooks for students who, didn't have them, across the state and in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. It's just dollars for food, to different missions such as Food Bank and Sunny Breakfast Mission. And even this year or last year, I was a little skeptical. Every year we do this great Thanksgiving food drive. And I thought, oh my goodness, people, they don't have, they won't want to give. But, we talked about it and talked it out. And I thought, let's just see what happens. And we did it. And it was a really big success again this year, because people have a heart to give. They want to give, and they may not always have to give. And so we were glad that when people didn't have, we were able to give to them.
Yeah. One thing that's been so interesting about this year, like we do this series every year. And so, every year we're asking people, tell us about a project or accomplishment. And this year, so many of them were like, oh, well, this past year, because it was a pandemic and it was a big deal and everyone had to pivot and change careers. And I can't imagine that in previous years with the interviews, people were saying things so recent, normally they're digging further back in their careers, but nope, this year was hard. Everyone got through it. Everyone's proud of it.
Exactly.
All right, LaVante.
So for me, I'm going to dig back, because I don't have as much, career as her. But when I go back to that time on 4th Street, because it was a time of me learning so much, but being able to pour just the knowledge that I had into those youth, and because I still hear from them today. They're like, hey, Ms. LaVante, how's it going? And telling me about their life. And these are youth who, like we said before, they have a lot against them. They're growing up in the inner city where the resources just aren't there. So giving them the opportunities. I remember one time, because we had a van, we would hop in the van and go after school. You do your homework, we're out. So we went to right, left Wilmington and went to the Bear Glasgow Park on 40. And for them, and we learned about this in school, at times you're so familiar with just your small town. When we went there, they thought we were in a whole nother state because it was so different for them and what they are used to. So being able to show them different opportunities, we would go down to the beach just for the day and they would have a ball, or going to Wildwood and just spending the day having fun. And it seems for us, like who grew up in the suburbs and stuff, it seems so like, oh, that's nothing. But for them, it was big, and it's experiences that they would never forget, as well as just being able to be there after, especially it was one time in Wilmington where the shootings were really bad and a lot of their friends were getting killed. We were in the program one night and one of their friends got killed a block over. So being able to just process that with them, be there for them. And my aunt provided the opportunity for them to have like summer jobs. So being able to teach them, like, and I was a tough boss. So like, you better call out ahead of time. If you no show, you're getting a write-up. Being able to help instill those things that are carrying them into current day, going to their graduations, and just seeing how we were able to change them from being just another statistic has definitely been the most fun and best accomplishment for me thus far.
I do take full credit for the person that she and her brother are today.
She does.
I do. And she laughs at me all the time because I'll say, wow, look what I did.
And my father, she's gonna leave him out.
Right.
And it's their wedding anniversary today. How many years?
Oh,
41.
congratulations.
Thank you. But, you know, when they were growing up and I was, you know, working in banking, I would drag them to the volunteer opportunities with me.
Meetings.
And they thought that they were, you know, going someplace fun and they would enjoy some of these things. It was work for me, but they were really having a lot of fun. But what it really did was instill in them that, you know, it's nice to receive things and to, you know, get a lot of things, but it's even nicer to be able to give something back. And it really did, you know, LaVante and her work in, you know, mental health and social services, certainly, I think is attributed to that. I totally believe that.
Yeah. And I would say sitting in those meetings, although most of the time I wasn't paying attention, I was paying attention. So now when I sit in some meetings, I'm like, oh no, this is not effective. This isn't how you lead. You got to do this, you got to have this lined up. It's hilarious the things you pick up when you're not even paying attention.
What is the most rewarding thing about what you do?
For me, it's just the impact and the joy you can see in people. So from the therapeutic side, I came in feeling one way at my lowest point. I didn't even see the light that this could even get better. And then we look back after a few sessions and I'm like, well, where did that person go? We chuckle about it and they can see like I had the strength in me all along. I just needed that extra help to help me process through. So being able to see the transformations that people can make, as well as just in working with youth, just seeing them, like we think the youth aren't paying attention, but they are. So just seeing their young minds at work, and when you challenge them rising to the occasion and accomplishing is super fun for me.
Okay. And it's sort of same thing. I mean, just the reward in, you know, seeing how either monetarily or with service, you know, what you are doing is really impacting people. And, you know, lots of times we take for granted things, you know, because you have a job and, you know, you may have a car and you may have a nice home and all of those things, but there are a lot of people out there that don't have those things and that, you know, and can't see their way out of it. And so to be able to give, and it doesn't even have to be a whole lot of money all the time. I mean, it can be a small grant to an organization that really helps them to keep moving and to keep helping other people, and just to see how it can change the community.
What is the most important business or personal discovery you've made?
You know, have confidence in yourself, and just, you know, put in the work that it takes to do, because otherwise you don't get to live your dream.
Yeah. And for me, it's about finding a healthy balance. I can really go into turbo, super go mode, but you still have to live life and have fun. So you can still give and pour in, but you also have to look at yourself, be in tune with what you're feeling, and definitely do self-care.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Travel as much as you can.
Yeah. I think I know what at least one of your answers is going to be, but give a shout out to a woman or women who you consider to be your mentors.
Oh boy.
Oh, shout out to you, buddy.
Shout out to you too. And you laugh at that, but LaVante is, I do call LaVante for advice, not just because of her skill set, but because she has she's very good thought process. And sometimes when I am, struggling with some things, I'll call her and say, this is what's going on. My mom certainly has been a sounding board for me and has helped to keep me grounded. But I've been lucky to have some mentors in the business world, especially over the years. And aside from my two best friends, Pastor Lottie and Sarah, who have been just, I call them my ride or die girls, because they just are there. I knew before Pastor Lottie passed that if I needed something, she was there, and the same for Sarah. But a couple mentors were a man named Kirk Mearns.
It's supposed to be women.
Oh, women, just women.
Yeah.
Okay. Peggy Edens, who was my previous supervisor at work, and I would consider a good friend as well, has really, it's one of those women that you can, even though she's your boss, you can talk to her openly and really share, not just work related things, but personal things, and feel confident in the advice that she's going to give, and that your business isn't going to be all out in the street. So I think those would be the ones for me.
Yeah, for myself, definitely mom, definitely Nana, as she mentioned, her mom, definitely her best friends. So yeah, so definitely Auntie Sarah, who helped me get that first start at United Cerebral Palsy, and my aunt Lottie Lee Davis. I know you're like, they keep mentioning this lady. All you have to do is Google her and you'll see why.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
She was awesome. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, we lost her last year tragically, but she did an amazing work and definitely saw a light in me before I could see it. Definitely I have a strong network of sister friends that I call them, and sister cousins. So Keisha, Janice, Leah, Stephanie, it's everybody, Nita and Shay, y'all could go on and on, but having that strong support network and just seeing them maneuver and do in their different careers is awesome. And then lastly, Lisa Savage is who gave me my start in the mental health field and has been a great mentor, especially with me branching out on my own. She's always encouraging me. So those people.
And LaVante being the type of person, having the type of personality that she has, first of all, everybody knows her. So
this is the calm version of me.
Oh my goodness. When you go places, it's like, oh, it's LaVante. And everybody's real excited to see her. It's like, oh, good Lord. But they love her just because, she's, I would say she's a very good person. Yeah, she's a very good person.
So are you, Mom.
Well, thank you.